Hey, this is Pastor Bunjee Garrett, and I want to take some time today to present you with another word of encouragement. Now, in case you haven't heard already, you might like to know that the CIA has reportedly issued a warning to the state of Israel regarding the potential for an Iranian attack which could occur within the next 48 hours. Just to be clear, this potential attack would be Iran's response to the apparent Israeli airstrike that recently resulted in the destruction of an Iranian consulate located there in Damascus, Syria. And seeing how that airstrike claimed the lives of numerous Iranian officials and generals, well, we shouldn't be surprised to learn that Iranian leaders are preparing to respond. As a matter of fact, it was just yesterday when Ayatollah Ali Khamenei declared this, and I quote him, "Desperate efforts like the act they committed in Syria will not save them from defeat, and they will be slapped for the action too." Khamenei also added this, and I quote him again, "The evil Zionist regime will be punished at the hands of our brave men. We will make them regret this crime." And according to the reports, listen, Iran is planning a combined attack with a rain of drones as well as missiles, which they will use to target strategic locations inside of Israel. Now, it's important for us to remember that this is the same Iranian leader who has continuously called for Israel's destruction and oftentimes refers to Israel as a cancerous tumor. Khamenei also posted a propaganda poster on his website which depicts Temple Mount free of all Israeli flags. And there at the top of this poster, we find the words spelled out, "Palestine will be free. The final solution, resistance until referendum." Now, I want to remind you that the term final solution, this was actually used by the Nazis in reference to their horrific plan to cleanse the Jews from the face of the earth. In similar fashion, Khamenei also has a final solution, which includes the destruction of Israel. And with this as the goal, Khamenei assured the world that the Arab resistance to the state of Israel should continue until, and I quote here, "the usurpers submit to the referendum for the Palestinian nation." That's right. The supreme leader of Iran believes that the Jews are usurpers who have illegally gained control of the land that the Lord promised to give to them. Khamenei was also clear that they're ready to provide military support for any and every group who is just completely committed to the final solution that they're working towards. And here's how he put it, and I quote him again, "We will support and assist any nation or any group anywhere who opposes and fights the Zionist regime, and we do not hesitate to say this." That's right, the supreme leader of Iran has openly confessed that he's ready to provide any measure of support by assisting anyone and everyone who is ready to wage war against the state of Israel. And with that being the case, well, we shouldn't be surprised to learn that Iran has been funding terrorist groups who are committed to the destruction of Israel. This, of course, includes the Lebanon-based Hezbollah, as well as the Gaza-based Hamas. And up until this point in time, Iran has been using these groups to wage their proxy war against Israel by providing weapons and intel to Hamas and Hezbollah, as well as to the Houthis and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, just to name a few. They've also been shipping weapons into Syria, which is why Israel continues to engage in these airstrikes there on Damascus in order to destroy the weapons that Iran continues to deliver to these proxy groups. And so let's just add it all up here. Iran has been waging a proxy war against Israel by supporting Islamist terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. And in response, the IDF engages in preemptive airstrikes there in Damascus in order to destroy the weapons caches which will be used against the state of Israel. In response to this, the Iranian leaders then accuse Israel of war crimes while simultaneously sending more and more weapons for their final solution. And so it seems to me that Israel decided to cut the head of the snake off, and they did this by leveling that Iranian consulate there in Damascus. Now, there are those who think that this attack was entirely unjustified, and yet these are the same people who have been flying the Ukrainian flag for years as they celebrate the billions and billions of dollars that the Biden administration has been sending to Ukraine since February 2022. In other words, these people are fine with the Ukrainians defending their country against the invading Russians, while simultaneously insisting that Israel is guilty of committing war crimes by defending their homeland against the Iranian-backed terrorist groups who continue attacking the state of Israel every single day. And listen, those who oppose Russia, while simultaneously supporting the Iranian-backed Islamists, what they're failing to realize is that Iran and Russia are actually on the same team. That's right. Russia and Iran, they share a close economic and military alliance, which will actually culminate in the fulfillment of the Ezekiel 38 prophecy as Russia, Iran, and Turkey join together with a few more bad actors as they eventually invade Israel. What you might not know is that it was just last week when Russian warships from the Pacific Fleet, they entered the Red Sea. And while the ultimate destination of those Russian ships is still yet unclear, I can't help but to wonder, are they preparing to provide support for the Iranian-backed Houthis who have been attacking vessels there in the Red Sea, in retaliation of Israel's military actions there in Gaza? If so, then Russia might just be preparing to attack Israel from the Gulf of Aqaba. Not only that, but Russian troops are currently gathering en masse at the southern border of Syria. And it was just yesterday when it was Russia's defense ministry who announced that the deployment of additional forces is in response to Israel's apparent attack on the Iranian consulate there in Damascus. Now, with that, I can't help but to wonder, is this the hook in the jaw that will bring Russia, Iran, and Turkey into a full-scale war with Israel? And will Russia's presence there in the Red Sea be the catalyst that causes the descendants of Cush to then invade Israel from the south? Well, I can't answer this for certain, but as we wait to see how all of this plays out, I just simply encourage you to realize that Russia is not only involved in the invasion of Ukraine, but they're also working together with the Iranians and the Syrians as they prepare to invade Israel. And you better believe that those who are putting pressure on Israel so that they might submit to the Arabs, well, they're simultaneously standing with Iran's alliance with Russia. And what this means is that these people will eventually find themselves on the wrong side of history. Please understand that I'm not suggesting that Israel is always right. I certainly don't believe that. And I don't believe that the state of Israel has come to embrace their promised Messiah, Yeshua. I don't see a national repentance as of yet. Not only that, but we also realize that according to biblical prophecy, Israel will embrace the Antichrist before they turn to Jesus Christ. And yet still, the Lord has promised to punish those who fight against the apple of his eye, Israel. The prophet Zechariah put it plainly in the 12th chapter of his book. It's there where he declares, "It shall be in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour out on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. Then they will look on me whom they pierced. Yes, they will mourn for him as one mourns for his only son, and grieve for him as one grieves for a firstborn. In that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, like the mourning at Hadad-Rimmon in the plain of Megiddo." That's right, there's coming a day when the children of Israel will look upon the one whom their forefathers crucified. And it's at that point in time when the inhabitants of Jerusalem will receive the spirit of grace and supplication. And with all this being the case, I encourage every Christian to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And at the same time, let's look for every opportunity to present the gospel of grace to the Jew and to the Arab alike, both of whom desperately need Jesus Christ. And as we present the gospel message of Jesus Christ, the Lord will help us to fight the good fight of faith, and all for the glory of God.